The ASTOC toolbox made in Germany. In this time I have to stay out clearly. There will be no fake numbers, no fake emissions, no NOx scandal. Also, it comes from Germany. I take you very shortly through some themes, who we are, what we are doing, and where we get our experience. And then on the fourth chapter, I would like to concentrate on the reimagine all the things we learned in the last years with working with 3D models and BIM. So shortly, this is not the most recent photo of our company, but we have all helmets, we are on site, and I thought it might be the right photo for this event. We are about 80 architects and urban planners. Most of them work in downtown Cologne in Germany. And at that time, we have 7 others who work on 3 projects in Bern, Switzerland. We consist since almost 30 years. We started with 3 guys, and 2 of them on the wings. They now devote their time on teaching universities, and we acquired 3 other guys to the board. So this is just a short view in our working office, and I show this picture just to show that our surface is made for communication. You have to overlook the whole situation, because we need we're working in teams that work together and need to be communicative. What we also do is celebrating, of course. This picture was taken at the beginning of March this year. The crew just prepares to go out on the street and make 5 days carnival in the city of Cologne. So having fun and celebrating is also an important thing for us to keep the atmosphere going. What are we working on? There's a wide range of services that we do cover: multi-family housing, office building, research facilities, but very important for us too, urban design and infrastructure projects. What we do, I just shortly give you some ideas what we have done in the last years. Urban planning, some of you might know the master plan of the Hafen City in Germany is most finished by now. Perhaps you know the masterpiece of Herzog de Meuron, the Elbphilharmonie, is one of the most important buildings in this master plan. Oh, this was too fast. We worked on the master plan of Mocha Villa in Sao Paulo, Brazil, together with Königsberger Banucci, and I saw Maria here. She worked with us on this project. Maria, are you here in the room somewhere? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's Maria. And then we've done a huge, also very huge project in Moscow on the banks of the Moscow River, the IFC, International Finance Center. I wanted to ask the guy on Monday what's about this project, because now my information is that it's on hold due to political changes they have there. But we also are architects, of course, and that what you see is the plan for a new campus for the University of Mülheim-Ruhr. It's in the middle of Germany somewhere, but we were planning and building facilities for auditoriums, dining, and library facilities. This is, for example, the library tower. Office building also is a part of our daily work. This is an example for an office building for the Vega companies. I don't know if it's known here. It's an international producer for plumbing lines, also in the middle of Germany situated. With a very nice lobby. Everything yellow because that's the I of the firm. Thank you. Another master plan. This one is in Regensburg in the southeast of Germany, Bavaria, where we were lucky that we could not only do the master plan, but we could also do some real housing projects over there. As you see, it's a quite dense situation, but we could offer a lot of different housing types, such as townhouses, lofts, and condominiums. So, just to give it an idea why I'm standing up here, where is our competence for BIM coming from, I really shortly just click through the 5 BIM projects that we have at that time in our office. And when I say BIM process, I mean really BIM process concerning building smart standards. I mean there's a BIM manager, we make clash detection, and that's a real standard. So it started out for us in Switzerland, where they are perhaps a little bit more open to this situation. We are doing this project for a general contractor that he himself has to deliver the whole project to a Swiss bank. So the contractor, implemented the BIM process because he wanted to improve his construction processes on site. Another greater project, very complicated because there are a lot of different uses, retail, housing, offices, 2 hotels on the banks of the Havel in Berlin. Here we are just working as an ordinary architect who does the design. This one is a smaller one, but I picked it up because this is for us the first time, no, it's the second time, but it's in Cologne, it's the first time that we are working as a general planner. And so we were able to choose the way we want to work with the other planning disciplines. And we choose, of course, the BIM process. So this will become 12 houses and 25 apartments for nurses and doctors, and a huge garage for the whole quarter around. This is another housing project. It was the client who called the building smart, the BIM process, and yeah, it starts now. It's a little bit delayed, but we're working on that. But the main or most important means not only because it's the biggest, but it's also the most complicated project that we are working is the Inselspital in Bern, also in Switzerland. It is a 60-meter high rise building with operating rooms and patient rooms and a large lobby for the whole campus. Here we are also working together with a Swiss office as general planner, and we have to coordinate 27 different planning disciplines. It is really much. So how do we do it? How do we work in this projects? Also, a very short overview. You know these tools we are using. I think you use them for modeling, of course, collision proofs, parametric design, rendering, and calculating. But we also sometimes use software from our planning partners just to be able to look into their work to have a better coordination. Of course, we are promoting very much the open BIM idea. According to the building smart standards, that's our world, that's where we like to move. The processes itself, well, not really worth talking about it, but anyhow, I just show it. The model of the architect always comes first as a reference model for the other disciplines. And I'm talking here about disciplines who have an own model. Later on, I come to other disciplines who do not have a model, but these ones have one. They do according to the reference model, they do their work. It comes all together in the coordination model, and we do the clash detection, and we get the BCFs filed, and it's repaired. You know this. As we are 30 years nearly on the job, we always used to work with networks. And as we are not quite small, but we are, compared to others, a small office, but we like to do big projects. So our strategy for a longer time already is that we look for others who are very experienced in their part of work. So networking always was very important for us. And that goes on in the BIM process, of course, as well. So what we do, we work together with a lot of other offices or companies to get their knowledge into our workflow. Of course, all of our employees, of our colleagues, learn when they are on the job, but you know, the professionals, they always have the best and updated tools. So we think that's a way to be always on top of the technology. For example, just one example, here you see the guys from Kaulquappe. Kaulquappe means tadpole. And these are geeks, they have their office in Zurich. And what they do is they do the database programming for us. This is a very important job. I mean, there are no architects. They dress different, they look different, they are different, but they are very important for the job, of course. So we love working in networks. I just picked this picture to show that working in the BIM process not only is digital, there are also analog processes still that are very important, as I think. And for example, this is just you get tied together in one room by the BIM manager to coordinate before the process itself starts, before the work starts, to coordinate between all the different disciplines you have in the project. I mean, on every note is written what one discipline expects from the other. So we were able to coordinate which part or which task has to be delivered before the next discipline can go on. So this is very analog. You could have done this 50 years before, but I learned it just in the last project. It's in the Inselspital we did this, and I found it very inspiring to work analog also. So the coordination between the model keeping planners is also well documented, and I go it through very fast. You know, there's the architectural model. Perhaps you have an excavation model. You have the MIP. You have the structure, and you put it all together in one model. This is just an example from the project we have on the Spandau. We have in Spandau, Berlin, and there we had all in all 27 models in coordination. Just keep this number in mind. I come to that later. And you do the collision proofs, the clash detection, sorry. So far, what we've done. But what have we recognized in the last years when we're working on these processes, on these projects? I'd like to differ between two different points of view. I start with technical observations we have been making. I said before, it's very well documented how to work with other disciplines that own an own model. But there are much more people on the job who do not have an own model, but they also have to be integrated in the project. So our idea was to do it with a database. And how do you get the model and the database together? And that I would like to show you how we were working on this. I call again the Inselspital. There we were able, with the tadpole guys, to make it happen that we have a database and a model. We get together in a so-called info model. What does it mean? It means that you have the situation that you have On the upper window, we have the 3D model, might be similar to Solibri. And on the lower window, you find the database. And now you're able to enter any information directly if you're allowed to. I mean, for example, a fire protection planner has to be allowed to work in this part. But if he's allowed, he can do it. And what you get out of it is visualizations. In this case, fire ratings or different kinds of rooms, because the information is in the database and you can get it back to visualization. Or you get door specifications, or you get a database of rooms automatically generated. Very important for the hospital, for example. So to get this all done, you need, or we work with a so-called GUID, the Global Identifier, Unique Identifier, sorry, which is a number every software should create for every object that you create. And the threat is, if you have complicated projects, that this number has to remain unique. Even if you have different modules kept together, you always have to be sure that in the end, there's still no doubled number in this system. And that's not, well, it's not easy to achieve that. 27 models and coordinations, still every object has its own GUID. You can see it in Solibri, for example. You have it here. You can, once you can open a window and you see that there is a GUID. So what about non-technical observations? I shortly would like to do a historical digression. This is the second time you see a Gothic cathedral today on the screen, and it's the third time that somebody talks about the so-called master planner, and so do I. You know, this is the Cologne Cathedral, and besides you see a picture of Meister Gerhard, who was the architect in 1248 when they started building this house. He was a general planner. He knew everything about techniques. He has to talk to the client. He had was responsible for the budget and for the timetable. In fact, he failed because it took 635 years to build this house. So he had it all in his mind, like a digital model. And I have the impression that probably we're back to that. Especially we are, as architects, have now the power to be ahead of the project again, like a Baumeister, like a master planner. And I think that's a very important idea that we should more encourage and more strengthen. The second thing is the people that we are working with, also very important for us. You know, it's not done if you buy the software. It's important that you give it in the hands of your employees, of your colleagues, of your teams, that they can work with it. So just for an example, I picked out two colleagues of us. There is Bernhard, who is at my age, and there is Lisa, he's 27, I think. So they have completely different backgrounds. And the thing is, with their different backgrounds, they have to work together with the same tools in the same team, which means they have, on one hand, they have to be open-minded. They have to be open and learn from each other. I mean, the elder one has to learn from the younger girl. Not an easy thing, but if you say it's important for you to do it, you just name it and you'll see what happens. And the other thing is, you have to give guardrails. You have to show them how to use these tools. It's not just done here, you have it and start working. You have to work on standards that they know how to use these tools. And we do it, we have handbooks that we write for our teams that they know how to work with it. So I have to hurry a little bit, I see. I believe in investing in education and in tools. I think it's worth to invest in these new technologies. Remain sexy. You know, we're looking for the best people on the market. And, you know, the people will only come to your office if you have interesting projects. For sure, that is one thing. But you also have to offer a good working desk with good tools, with modern tools. And the last thing is, I really think that the BIM processes enables us to get back the steering wheel in our hand, so we are more enabled, perhaps, to drive our projects to good results. Sorry that I took a little bit too long.